Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vinny's Retro Review. Tonight is in my Classic Sports Club. We talked about, and took a look at the 1990 East Regional Final between Duke and UConn, a legendary matchup on Duke's way to their to a championship game appearance against UNLV just a week later. Played on March 24th, 1990 at the Izod Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey. It was a great game. Oh, hold on. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Excuse me. It was a great game. That went into overtime. Duke led by such players as Bobby Hurley. First of all, coached by Mike Krzyzewski, led by players like Bobby Hurley, who only had 3 points, though. Christian Leitner had 23, Ala Abdulnabi, 27, Phil Henderson, 21, and then Robert Brickley, 2. Those were the starters. Brian Davis had 2. Bill McCaffrey had 1 off the bench. For the UConn Huskies, they spread the points around from the starters, and Day Hennefield had 15. Scott Burrell had 12. Chris Smith had 11. Tate George, 9. Rod Sellers, 1. And off the bench, John Gwynn, 15. Toriano Walker, 9. Lyman DePriest, 2. And Dan Cyrillic, 4. But the real big thing about this was the overtime, going to overtime, and Duke seemed to get cold in overtime, only scoring 7 points, but Connecticut was equally as cold as they only got 6, and Christian Leitner hit probably a 5-foot jumper right at the end to win the game. It was a great game. It was about an hour and a half to watch. You could find the game on YouTube or, of course, in Classic Sports Club. But during the game, during the review, normally at this point I would then jump into what life was like in 1990, and March 24th, it was, great because we had sports. Now I want to get into, they're showing the Rudy Gobert video from earlier this week. I'm going to break away from retro review and go back to Vinny's take now, just real quick. Since I finished my video at about 9:20 earlier this evening, big events have happened in the world of sports. The NBA has suspended their season indefinitely. Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert has tested positive for the coronavirus, and because of all the contact and stuff that he comes into, the game tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder was postponed. Because the officials that were involved in Gobert's last game were to be working the other NBA game tonight. That game was postponed, and therefore the rest of the season. Now, of course, we know it's a 2-week quarantine, up to 2 weeks, so there's going to be at least 2 weeks without the NBA. The NHL are mulling plans for tomorrow. WWE has had to cancel their SmackDown from Detroit on Friday. They instead will broadcast from the Performance Center in Orlando, and with the big press conference coming tomorrow in Tampa, it's looking more and more like WrestleMania itself will be at the Performance Center in Orlando. WrestleMania, an event that normally holds 1,000 or 100,000 people, could possibly be held without fans. The NCAA tournament will go on without fans. Starting tomorrow, all conference tournaments will occur without fans. So as much as I would love to continue the retro review on Duke and Connecticut from 1990, my own attention was diverted as I was viewing Sports Center and sorry, I'm getting really thirsty. Sports Center and what's going on in the world of sports. It is hard to remain positive. It really is. As this stuff continues to come down, and more leagues are throwing in the towel, postponing games, or banning fans from the arenas. More and more cities are doing this. The president came on tonight, as you saw in my video earlier, and talked about payroll tax, potential payroll tax, suspending of that. Also, what I missed when I wasn't, the part that I didn't see was all travel to and from Europe as of midnight tonight will be postponed for 30 days. We are officially a country in quarantine. I think you could still travel to Great Britain, but I'm sure that won't be long before that's all suspended. And eventually, most likely, all travel. This goes beyond sports at this point. This does. The illness itself seems nothing more than an intense cold or a flu. From everything I've read, I mean, unless you're elderly, over 60, have a pre-existing chest breathing type problem, it's definitely recoverable. And now that there are celebrities such as Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert, Tom Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson, who announced tonight that they've tested positive, you're going to hear more about the potentiality for recovery. The media has not been talking much about recovery. This illness, this virus, is not a death sentence. So yes, we are losing our minds right now in America, and all the toilet paper is flying off the shelves, and the NBA suspended the season, and the NCAA is going to play without fans. And those are probably precautions that, regardless of how you feel and how serious you think it is or not, they're going to happen because the mass panic has forced them to happen. But the thing to remember, people, is that this is not a death sentence. And if you are one of those people, the elderly or those with serious pre-existing conditions, definitely quarantine yourself until this thing is under control, if you can. Now, I work a job. I can't. I cannot quarantine myself. I am going to have to go to work, and I fear the minute, the hour, the time when the first person that we come into contact with tests positive. And I hope to hell that those of us who are at work when it happens understand what is going to happen to us, because we are at a job where we cannot leave. You know, John M. and I on Fact of the Future joke around about the nuclear power plant and what we do for a living. But seriously, without getting into what we do, because I'm sure you all know that's code. Without getting into what we actually do, we are essential employees of the state of New York, and he's of the federal government, and we will have to go to work. We will have to soldier through and maintain work. And there are many people like that. Are people in healthcare, are people in law enforcement, and are people in public transportation and stuff that just cannot quarantine themselves and will have to work no matter what type of hysteria hits us, hits this country, what kind of panic ensues. There are people that will be working. You are going to have to eat. People are going to have to maintain deliveries. So if you're at all any kind of religious, say a prayer tonight for those of us who have to work, that we don't get it, we don't get quarantined, or the spread of this continues to slow down as it has already in China, where it initiated from. The cities that are under mass quarantine, or the countries like Italy that are under mass quarantine, get control of it, and America can now get control of it. We will soldier through. I don't know what more I can say. I really don't. So I'm going to end this tonight. I'm sorry. I know the title says Retro Review. I'll add into the description that it takes into more coronavirus talk. But that's really what's on everybody's mind right now. Now, for my boys in Fact of the Future, I'm going to get on. I'm going to do a little editing. So if you want to get on and chat, I promise I'll take the mask off because it won't be on video. But stay safe, everybody out there. And for God's sakes, wash your hands and your ass. God bless America.